Hi guys, Victoria Paxton here. Thanks for stopping back by my YouTube channel. Okay, a couple things before I get started. Do me a favor and subscribe, like this video, and share it. That would be awesome. You can look down below and see my Instagram information and my Twitter information and all that. Okay, so again, we're recording on the cheap camera. Well, it's not cheap, but we're recording on the lesser camera, the Nikon, because our Canon is still being worked on. That's how bad I broke the thing. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So today I'm going to talk about Suzanne. I don't know how to pronounce this last name. Mages. I'm going to talk about the information first about her, and then we'll go back over what I'm able to get. So, okay, so she lived in Denton, Texas. She was born July 25th of 1965. She disappeared on a Sunday afternoon, September 25th, 1977. So apparently Suzanne's mom, Mary, needed to go to her store, stop by her store, and their washing machine was broken at the time. So she asked her daughter if she would sit and basically, watch the laundry, and she would come back in about an hour to pick her up. So, yeah. So anyway, so Suzanne was at the laundromat, and then she decided to go next door to the Burger King to get a purple popsicle. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Oh, again, I didn't say this at the beginning, but I'm inside today, obviously. We had snow earlier. We're getting rain right now. The temperature's supposed to drop. It's supposed to turn to sleet and freezing rain later. So it's like so overcast. I mean, all day today, it's looked like it was, 5 o'clock at night. Just wanted to add that in. Okay, so she went next door to go to Burger King to get a purple popsicle, which I actually remember that as a child, going to Burger King and getting popsicles. Just want to throw that in. But anyway, so witnesses said they saw her standing in line talking to a man. She acted like she knew him. He was described as tall, dirty blonde hair, sideburns, a mustache, and he had acne scars on his face. Okay. So the last time she was seen alive, she was talking to this man, supposedly. Her body was found 9 days later on October 4th. Oh my gosh, excuse me, guys. Her body was floating in an abandoned gravel pit in the Oak Cliff area in Dallas, which it sounds like it's more of like a pond almost, or like a, like a huge drainage pond almost, if that makes sense. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so when her body was found, her socks were missing and her zipper on her pants was down. Supposedly she was an excellent swimmer, but the autopsy showed that, yeah, she drowned. Yeah. So I was able to connect with her. She went by Suzie, I guess, her family. Okay, so I wanted to explain here. When I connect with spirits, it's not always the same, okay? So each time I connect to the spirit, it never is exactly the same. It's always different. So I took down some notes because I know I'll forget. But, okay, so sometimes I'm able to speak to them directly, like have a conversation, almost like, I could have with you, like a one-on-one conversation. Sometimes I can do that. Sometimes I can see things through their eyes or their vantage point, as if I'm like them. Other times I'm shown things like I'm an outsider. So like a lot of times, like when I have the dreams that come true and such, a lot of times I'm like up above, like hovering up above. And it's like a movie. Like I'm up here, nobody can see me, and I'm like overseeing like a movie almost. That's the best way I know how to explain it. But yeah, and sometimes I'm like over here looking in as an outsider. It just depends. It's like different with every spirit. But So with Suzie, she was showing me things like through her eyes. So like I could see through her vantage point. So the other thing I want to point out is I know what the witnesses have said, and there's always witnesses in every situation for the most part, but I don't always get what the witnesses are saying, okay? So for example, all right, let me just go forward. So I'm seeing her, she's walking into Burger King. There's like 5 people in line in front of her, okay? So I'm standing there as her in line. There's 5 people in front of me waiting. I started feeling like somebody was staring at me, right? I had that uncomfortable feeling, like you can just feel when someone's staring at you. You can feel it, like you can tell. Yeah, so I look over to my left and I see a man that's staring at me. As soon as he realizes that I'm looking at him and that I'm aware that he's staring at me, he smiles and kind of waves like he knew me, okay? So at this point, I didn't feel like real confident, but yet I was feeling like I knew him. Oh, I know him from my parents' store. I know him. So like she's thinking that she knows this guy, okay? But she didn't feel, it wasn't like, oh, I definitely know him. That's my neighbor so-and-so. It wasn't like that. It was like, oh, I think I know him. I think from my parents' store, right? Yeah, so he gets up, he walks over to me. I didn't want to be rude. I feel like, I didn't want to be rude. So I just said, I'm literally feeling what she's feeling. Okay. So yeah, so I say hi and, we start communicating. I get up to the counter, I get my popsicle, and I'm, thinking I'm going to say bye to this guy and walk out the door and go back to the laundromat. Right. Yeah, so I walked back over to him to say bye, and he mentions that his wife's in the car and that they have a new puppy. And hey, do you want to come see this? Do you want to come see the puppy? Okay, so here's where there are a lot of things that don't add up or make sense, so just stay with me on this, okay? Okay, so I didn't want to be rude. I feel like I'm just, he's harmless. Okay, yeah, yeah, okay, I'll go with you. He obviously knows my parents. He's obviously been to their store and they know him. And, so why wouldn't I be comfortable with him? Like, I shouldn't be afraid of anything. There's nothing to be afraid of, right? So we walk out the door and it's like we go like to the right and around the corner and walk back. It almost feels like we're like behind the building or like to the back side of the building. So we're walking and there's this big black vehicle sitting there. Now I can tell you from seeing it, I don't know what kind of car it was, which is weird because I'm really good with like 60s and 70s vehicles. But I will tell you, like when the cars in the 70s had like, how do I describe it? So like, okay, on the back of each side, there's like a little teeny tiny side window in the back seat, like, and it comes up and it's thick and it's like leather. And it comes across the back and then it kind of comes up on the top of the car. It's almost like, and like the top had like this vinyl top, not leather, but like vinyl. And it was like a 2-door, big, huge boat of a car, big, huge, deep doors. But I even looked online to try to see if I could find a car just like it. And I never could like find just the right one. I found some that looked similar. Yeah, there was like an Oldsmobile. I don't know. But I looked and I found one similar, but I never found anything just like this particular car. So I'm not sure why. So anyway, we're walking up and they're doing the small talk thing. And I look over and I'm not seeing anybody in the car, right? But I'm still not feeling like I have any reason to be afraid, right? This guy knows my parents, right? It's all good. He's not going to hurt me. But I'm walking and going, I don't see anybody in the car and I don't see his wife and I don't see a dog. So, yeah. In a quick instant, he kind of stopped and like hesitated, Okay, so the whole time he's been like, you know, walking next to me. We're walking together, the two of us. We're all, you know, both of us are walking forward together. And then all of a sudden he kind of stops and hesitates, and I keep walking, so I end up in front of him, right? And then all of a sudden I just feel my body being pulled backwards, and I smell something strange, and then that's it. So, yeah. So the next thing is it's almost like I wake up as if I were like asleep or something, and I wake up. But when I wake up, it's like I'm up here, you know, I'm up here, I look down and I can see my body in the water. But she was like oblivious. Like even at that point, she didn't even know that she was like gone. You know, she didn't, it's like she went to sleep, she woke up, like, you know what I mean? Like she didn't even know she was gone, I guess. Yeah. So I just wrote down here that, you know, I was like so confused. I didn't understand what I was looking at. And then I kind of like focused in more, because I kind of feel like she was like maybe almost like a woozy kind of feeling. And it's kind of hard to focus when you feel like that. So I feel like she was, you know, focusing, and then she finally focuses in and she's like, oh my gosh, that's my body down there. You know, but she's still not putting two and two together that she's gone. You know what I mean? Okay, so let me go forward with the things that I kind of got along the way. So my parents, and I guess people in the community, so her parents and people in the community, sorry, they felt like it was this one guy in particular, because I guess it matched the composite sketch that the police did based on what witnesses said in the Burger King, what he looks like. So immediately her parents and family and community thought it was this one particular man. It wasn't him. She kept saying it's not who they think it is. It's not who they think it is. Okay. Yeah, the guy, she was saying like the guy looked harmless. Like she at no time felt afraid because he looked harmless. He just looked like a everyday person, you know, and she, like she said, she thought she knew him. So she thought, okay, he's from my parents' shop, so he's safe, right? Yeah. Okay. So witnesses came forward saying that they saw Suzie standing in line talking to this man, and apparently he was standing in line ordering food as well. Okay, that's not true according to what Suzie said, because okay. So okay, let me back up. Okay, so it's not who the parents think it is, okay? But they do know who killed her, all right? They're not going to suspect him. They would never suspect this guy. They would never suspect him. He didn't even, like, look, in real life, he didn't even look close to the composite sketch that was done. So here's what I was saying. I feel like he worked for a company, and he either sold them stuff or delivered stuff. I don't know which. So for example, like when I was young, I worked at a movie theater, and there were specific people every week would come and deliver, like, you know, the cans of like soda liquid and the carbonation containers. It was always the same guy. Like, you know, we saw him, we're like, hey, we knew him by his first name. He would come and deliver. So this guy is either someone that was delivering product to the parents' store, or he could have even been like a salesman. So like Coca-Cola, say Coca-Cola salesman. They will come every week or 2 weeks and check out your supply in your back room to see how much you have left to sell, you know, like if you're a gas station owner. And yeah, so they'll say, oh, we have this new product out. Okay, so we have a new caffeine-free soda and we want you to try it. So he was either a salesperson like that, or he was actually delivering products to the parents' store. So the parents knew him. You know, it's not like they were best of friends and best buddies, but they knew who he was, and he came consistently over a long period of time to their store. So he knew exactly, you know, they knew exactly who he was, but they're not thinking it's him because he doesn't look like the composite sketch. So they're not even, this guy's not even coming on the radar. You know, he's not even on the radar of the police because he was just an everyday Joe that went to their shop, and they had no reason to believe it was him because he didn't look like what the witnesses had said. He didn't look anything like that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I put in here, he was definitely seen at their shop on many occasions. I definitely believe that. He's not anyone that anyone would have ever suspected. Okay, so for example, you know, God forbid if a girl ends up getting raped, they'll go to, they'll look up all the people around that live around her, you know, to see if they have any, you know, sexual crime charges or anything. You know, because they're the first ones you suspect, right? You know, if you have a prior conviction of raping a girl, you're the first one that is going to be on the radar. This guy was never on the police's radar. To this day, this guy's not on the police's radar. I'm not sure why. I don't know why they haven't, like, interviewed him. You know, because he was somebody that went to their place, went to the parents' business. Yeah. Okay. So I was seeing flashes like, okay, so let me see if I can. Okay, so Suzie, once he overpowered her behind her, she wasn't getting anything. It's like she went to sleep, and then she wakes up, and then she can't see straight, and she looks down, she sees her body. Eventually she realizes it's her body, and she's apparently dead. I can say this, that I'm 100% confident he had every intention of raping her. He saw an opening, he saw her there, and he had every intention of raping her. But I think he medically wasn't able to. I think that he took her shoes and socks off. I think that he unbuttoned her jeans and he pulled her jeans and underwear down. And I think he had every intention of raping her. Because at this point she was still alive. Oh, that's what I want to say is when she was overpowered, I don't know what her autopsy said, but I swear he put like some kind of chemical, you know, over her mouth. So I don't know if it was chloroform or I don't know what the heck it was, but it, you know, it made her like pass out, you know, and I don't know if that stuff shows up on an autopsy or not, but I really believe, you know, that's how he gained control over her. So he attempted to rape her. You know, she was passed out still. He couldn't medically do it. He was having issues. And so he got pissed off and he pulled her underwear and her pants back up. He ended up not hooking her pants fully. He ended up throwing her shoes on. It wasn't until later that he probably, I don't know. But he must have discovered at some point later that, oh crap, her socks are in the backseat of my car, right? And while this was going on, I'm here to tell you, wherever he was parked, he was in the back seat and somebody pulled up. I do see that. I see somebody pulled up and saw this guy in the back seat. It was probably like, what is that dude doing in the back seat like that? You know what I mean? So I think this person saw something, but they don't realize that they saw something important. And I think that also spooked him, and that's why he hurriedly, you know, pulled her pants up, pulled her underwear, pulled her pants up, you know, forgot to put her socks on because he was hurriedly just trying to get her dressed, and then he jumped up to the front seat and he took off because he was scared. Okay, so he definitely got spooked, okay? So without a doubt, the man that pulled up next to him, you know, when the police said to come forward, when a child's missing, the police always say, if you think you saw anything, come forward. Well, back then it was a little bit different. We didn't have social media back then. So by the time you find out that a child's missing, it could have been several days, you know. If it didn't make the evening news or the next morning news, then it could be several days before you find out about it. So I definitely think this person that pulled up next to this black car saw the man in the back seat and didn't like realize he was seeing something. So I don't know if that person is still in existence. Excuse me, I don't know if that person's alive, but it would be really nice, you know. I mean, that could be, I don't know, the way they catch them. I don't know. I mean, who knows? But I definitely think that the guy saw something. He didn't realize he saw something, but he saw the man. He got a good look at him. He got a good look at his car, you know, and he saw him. All of a sudden, he was doing something, and then he jumps up into the front seat and takes off, you know, trying to haul ass out of there. So that, you know, no doubt, yeah. And I think he got scared at this point, and he needed to find a place to dump her. And he dumped her in that water. And I don't know if he thought, oh, she would wake up. If I dump her in the water, she'll wake up and she'll, you know, end up being saved. But, of course, that didn't happen. She drowned. And that would also make sense why her family said, you know, she was such a good swimmer, but yet she drowned. Because I think she was still drugged up on whatever he gave her. And that's why, you know, I'd be really curious to see what the autopsy showed. Like if it showed chloroform or some kind of other toxic chemical, you know, that knocked her out, you know. Yeah, I don't know what he gave her, to be honest. You know, but he knocked, you know, it knocked her out, and she ultimately was thrown in the water, and she didn't wake up as a result, and she drowned. That's why the autopsy said she drowned. So anyway, the other thing, gosh, and I don't understand people, okay? There are most definitely people that at the beginning of it being announced that this child was missing, there are people that said, oh, I mean, I see this woman, right? And I don't know if she is the wife of the killer or if she's a sister of the killer. I don't get like it's the aunt or the mother, but I think she's like a wife or sister, maybe a really, really close cousin, but she suspected he was involved from the beginning. And his behavior made her suspect him. You know, he wasn't acting right. He was just acting off. And he was probably, I really think he was talking about this little missing girl. And I think it made this woman say, oh my gosh, like, I think he's involved. And again, I don't understand, because I swear I love my son with all my heart and soul. But if I thought for a second that he had abducted a child and murdered that child, yeah. I know people say, oh, it's easy for you to say, you've never been in that position. But I couldn't, in good faith and good conscience, there's no way I could not turn my son in. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know what's wrong with people. I don't understand why they wouldn't just do the right thing, you know? I mean, look at like Ted Kaczynski. His brother and his brother's wife realized that the babbling on writings that he was sending to the newspaper, you know, his manifesto or whatever, they recognized the writing style right away. They were like, oh my gosh, you know, and he turned his brother in. And I mean, it sucks, but that's reality. And if you have a family member that's killing people, how can you not turn them in, right? This guy was definitely living in Denton at the time. I don't think he was like going to school there. I think he was, you know, I want to say he was probably mid-20s, maybe even late 20s when he murdered her. And he was definitely, he was definitely like working full time. It's not like he was, for example, it's not like he was from Massachusetts and he started going to school there in Denton, Texas. And then after he graduated from college, he stayed in Denton, Texas. I feel like this guy is from that area. Most definitely from that area. And he was, you know, familiar with everything around that area. You know what I mean? Yeah, so he was just a piece of crap. He had every intention of raping her. He couldn't, quote, get it up. Yeah. I feel like he is very much alive. And like I said, this girl, this lady, whoever she is, you know, that's why I was like, I don't know if it's a sister or his wife, but she's like in really close proximity to his age at the time. So, but it was like instantly she thought, I wonder if he has something to do with it. And then on top of it, he was acting strange. He wasn't acting right. And he was bringing up the case of this missing girl, you know, because it took, you know, quite a few days to find her. And he talked about it a lot, and he dwelled on it a lot. So this woman knows. She knows who it is, and she needs to come forward, you know, and stop keeping her mouth shut. You know, she needs to come forward because, I mean, he could continue to do this. I don't get the feeling that he's murdered any more little girls, but I do get the feeling that he has raped again. He has definitely raped somebody. I don't feel like it's a little girl, that it's a child, but I feel like he's definitely raped someone, like, you know, someone that's of legal age, you know. I definitely feel that. I don't feel that he's done it numerous times. I think that he thinks about it a lot, even to this day. I think it's, yeah, he obsesses over it, and yeah, these people, they're just wicked. It's just, yeah, it's just insane. Okay, so just so you know, I have another video too that I've been working on, that we're gonna put together. We went to my son's house and cleansed the house, and we have all the footage of me walking through and what I was getting and what I was seeing. Okay, guys, so again, subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost anything. You could like this video and share it. That would be awesome. If you have any ideas for any other cases that you'd like me to look into, just let me know. I would love to do that. All my information's in the information box in the bottom about my Instagram and my Twitter, how to get a reading from me. I try to post on Instagram pretty regularly. I'm not as good about it right now because it's crappy weather outside and we haven't been able to go to a bunch of cemeteries lately. I went last week, but it's just been crappy weather here, guys. So, so yeah, if you guys have any other ideas, let me know. The other thing, if you guys have any cool places in the DMV area, so DMV is DC, Maryland, and Virginia. If you have any cool places that I could check out in the DMV, whether it's a cool cemetery or a haunted location, whatever, you know, let me know. Just leave it in the comments below. And yeah, definitely check me out on Instagram. That would be awesome if you would subscribe and then follow me on Instagram. That would be cool too. So, okay, guys, listen, thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.